Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode. We're back in the garage, and this time around we're doing a few upgrades to the 2022 Husqvarna Te300i. My good friends and sponsors in Poland, Carapaks, have sent me some new parts to install on the bike. So we've got a brand new FMF Gnarly pipe to replace the stock pipe. And we've also got the Carapaks full skid plate to install as well, which is going to protect basically the new expansion pipe, but not only that, it's going to protect the frame. So when I'm jumping over logs or going through rocky sections, or even if I drop the bike by accident, it's going to be protected in all those situations. Now, if you watched the last installation episode where I installed the Carapaks foot pegs, they are an absolutely amazing product. They're built to the highest quality, so they're very, very tough, especially for hard enduro situations like we ride. So, and these ones are the -5mm back and 5mm down as well. So, but you can watch that in the episode link up here. So, anyways, let's get on to installing the new parts for this. Alright guys, so the next step is I want to show you the FMF Gnarly pipe that we've received for the bike. If we have a look at a close-up, you can see it's got FMF Gnarly on here. Absolutely beautiful pipe, and nice and shiny, and oh, it just makes me tingle. Okay, and then the next thing guys, so I've taken it out of the packaging. Now, I got too excited, but this is it. This is the beautiful piece of art that Damien has welded for me to suit the FMF Gnarly pipe. This is a full skid plate, as you can see, and it's a work of art, guys. Absolutely a work of art. So, as you can see, the welds, the construction, the engineering behind this is absolutely first class. And you can see that the Carapaks logo has been cut in there as well. So it's absolutely beautiful. So you'll get that, guys. Not only that, in the packaging, you'll have the mounting brackets as well. All the right mounting brackets to work with that. You've also got the linkage protector. And you've also got some instructions in here. So I guess, yeah, we got to get started on the process, because I really want to get this on, and I really want to show you guys how fantastic this will look at the end. So, and functional too. So, all right, let's do it. So the next step of the process, I've just got an 8mm on my driver here, and what I'm going to be doing is just taking off the seat and taking off the plastics on this side. That way I've got clear access into the FMF slip-on and then onto the stock expansion pipe, so we can disconnect it in the middle, and just makes it a little bit easier. That way you've got, good accessibility there. So let's get started on that. So we'll speed up the process. Pretty straightforward. 8mm bolts on the slip-on side itself and the seat, and should all come off, so it should be pretty straightforward. So let's go. Alright guys, so as you've seen, that was pretty straightforward. It was basically some 8mm bolts holding that slip-on on, and it just pops straight off. Now, getting the expansion pipe off is a little bit of a nightmare, because there is 2 springs at the front of the actual expansion pipe that hold onto these brackets over here, if you can see. So there'll be a spring on there and a spring on here, and that basically just holds this this flange onto the actual head itself. So oops, I haven't got the luxury of having a little hook. Unfortunately, I don't have that, but all I'm going to use is a flat blade, and I'm going to have some long nose pliers to help out with that. Now, the only other thing we'll need to take off is the 10mm on the top mounting bracket here, and I believe there's another 10mm just down below too. So we'll get onto that and get started with that process. What I'm doing now is trying to take these springs off, and what I'm doing is I'm actually using my pliers and my flat blade screwdriver to help me get this off. And what I'm kind of doing is I'm kind of putting the flat blade underneath where we've kind of made a gap with the long nose now, and using that as kind of like your leverage. So as you're kind of twisting and pulling the spring, I'm then putting this underneath to then give us that leverage to pop it off. So look, it's a very backyard way of doing that, and you know, you just got to be super careful. I'd recommend you be very careful of your eyes and stuff like that, because these things can fling out and really do some damage. So here is the old pipe, as you can see. It's not too bad actually. I've already had it repaired once, but considering how many times I've actually jumped logs and all that sort of stuff, I've actually got better at not dinging the pipe, except for that ding there, which was, you know, kind of inevitable. But yeah, so the next step is, guys, we need to take off, see these O-rings on the flange there. Those O-rings need to come off. I actually don't have any new ones, but we will put some, we'll just take these ones off and put them on the FMF pipe. We also need to take off these as well. So where they mount onto, so basically where the bolt goes through over here, we need to take these mounts off, transfer that onto the FMF. And also we've got the top mount that we need to take off as well. So we need to take that out there and transfer this. So they just pull out. You might need just a flat blade just to give it a bit of a hand there, but that should come out. So let's get that done. We'll transfer it onto the new one. Rightio. So we've got a few things to transfer. So what we're going to do, this is the new Gnarly. I am going to start off by just transferring these over. So again, they're just rubber grommets, essentially, with metal on the outside of it. So just remember how they go on. So they're actually the same. So I like to always keep note of that, making sure that, you know, there's no differences in that, but that's okay. And that will just pop out like so. And like I said, you might just need your flat blade just to give it a helpful push out. And there we go. So that's that one there. And what we're going to do is just transfer it in here. So you can see that it should just slide in essentially, and pop your cap on, and on the other side, and there we go. That's one mount done. So we'll move on to the inner one, and same goes with the inner one. We might just flip that around so you guys can see a little bit better, but essentially we're just doing the same thing. So that will pop out like so. That will pop out like so. And try not to damage the rubber grommet. And we're going to, again, give it a bit of a helping hand with the flat blade. So that's that. And then we can gently transfer that over onto the FMF without scratching it. And same thing, carefully just put it in, and as you can see, cap will go on one side, second side, and that's that. That's as easy as it is to put those mounts back in, so you can see there. And now the rubber O-rings that are on here, we're just going to have to gently pry them off. Realistically, what you want is one of those little metal hooks to get in and under, or a really small screwdriver so you don't damage those O-rings. But there you go, bit oily, obviously running a bit rich, that TPI, but yeah, again guys, I'm sorry I don't have the right tools for the job for this one, but hey, we're making do. And there's the second one off as well, so that's both of those. This standard pipe in the bin. No, we'll keep that one. But yeah, what you might want to do is just clean these up and yeah, transfer them onto the pipe. Alright guys, I've decided to put some gloves on because just want a little bit of protection here. But so what we're going to do is, now on the new pipe, you install your O-rings and make sure they're seated properly and nice and flush with the right thing. And then we'll put another one here. And again, they're both identical. Make sure there's no stuff on the actual O-ring itself. Might be a good thing as well, maybe just a little bit of silicone spray or something, just to give it a little bit of lubrication for when you reinstall it back on the bike itself. So, but that's good like that. So basically, as you can see, our Gnarly pipe is ready for installation. So it's basically reversed from here, guys. And yeah, nice and easy. Should be able to now slip that on, and everything will line up as it was. So yep, all the holes are lining up. Oh, beautiful. And that's sitting perfectly there. So I'm just going to get the right bolts and we'll mount this up again. So line it up with the original mounting holes and make sure that everything is going to be seated properly. Just go nice and slow, guys, because you don't want to cross thread. Probably best off grabbing like a an extension like so. Okay, and just put that in by hand at the start. That way, there we go, just slips on nicely. So I'm not going to do that up. I'm going to do the other side now and make sure that's on properly as well. Alright guys, so once your bolts, your main mounting bolts up the top and on the other side, so the two 10mm are in, you want to then get your springs back onto the pipe itself. But all I'm going to use, I'm just going to leverage my way onto this if I can. So just had to use a little bit of strength there on that, but that's it. So as you can see, it is now secured, sitting nicely and ready to install the new Carapaks skid plate. So let's get on to that. Rightio guys, so let's get on to getting these brackets installed or insulated. That way we can basically not scratch the frame. So essentially you're gonna have a few brackets here to work with. This one here, for example, this one actually goes around the left hand side of the frame where the pipe is, and what we'll do is we will get this wrapped up nicely, and then you can basically work with a bracket that's not going to scratch your frame. So as you can see, all I'm doing here is just basically wrapping it with insulation tape, and again, it doesn't have to be too thick. You don't need to go too crazy with it, but just enough to keep it nice and safe on the frame. So same on the other side, making sure that it, you know, do a good job as well. Don't just half-ass it. And yeah, go ahead and do that for all of them. Alright, so to start off the installation, first we need to mount our first mounting bracket. So as you can see, there is a engine mount bolt here, which is a 13mm socket, and the easiest way is just find yourself a 13mm that will fit onto, you know, your ratchet. The other thing is the mounting bracket that actually goes on this side looks like this. Now you can see I've put the insulation tape on both sides, that way the frame is not going to get scratched. Alright, let's remove this bolt. And just remember, when reinstalling this bolt, that you reinstall it at the correct torque setting from the manufacturer as well, and that way it's all within specification and your engine is not going to be falling out. Alright, so now what we're going to do is install the bracket, which making sure that we go the right way up, and you can tell when you put it on, it will go a certain way which looks correct, and it is this way, so it needs to go this way up, and you'll see how well it actually fits on and mounts in. So just make sure that you slide it up well into its right position, put the bolt straight back in, and even if you just start it off and then come back to it with the right torque range setting. That way your engine mount is going to stay in place. Alrighty guys, so what we need to do is just simply get your 8mm onto your driver, and we're going to take those out. So the bottom one comes out, one, and then we'll have another one up the top there which needs to come out. Okay. And that will give us a little bit more room with the radiator, and it's probably easier when the guards are slightly off, but it will essentially allow us to have a bit more flex. And as you can see, with that flex, it allows us to move this area a little bit more. So hopefully now we should be able to slide that on. So the bracket can go on. Alrighty, so now that we've got the mounting bracket on, we finally got it on. It was a little bit tougher than I thought, but the trick is keep it high. You don't want it any lower than where it is now, and as you feed it around, you can sort of manipulate the radiator, and this basically bypasses that nice and easy. So once you've done that, that's pretty much it. All you need to do is put these bolts back in where the radiator mounts onto, and so we'll do that now as well. Slightly better angle on the mounting of this skid plate. So as you can see, this is the mount, this is the way or the orientation that it's going to go in. Alright, so you put it in on an angle, easiest way, and it will mount in. So I know I had it in just before and it's just getting stuck on some of these cables. So what we might do is there you go, and it just slips under in there. So basically you can see that you've got mounting holes for your skid plate, and that's how it sits. If we have a look here, you can see that the slots just basically slide in like so. The rear mounts, which will go on here like so, and they'll attach something like that. Okay, and essentially that's what they're going to get. This one on the right position and move along a bit. Actually, might be more so towards the center. We'll double check that anyways. Alright guys, so we are ready to put the plate on. Make sure that your mounting bracket is good to go as well, and what we're going to do is slowly slip this up around the plate there, making sure your rear brackets are all aligned as well. So let's start off by getting this front plate in line with all the holes. So you can usually just stick your finger in just behind that middle plate there, and you should be able to get your first two bolts in fairly easy. That perfect fitment, which we like. There we go. Alright, so what I'll do, I'll zoom you guys in. So as you can see on those first two bolts, we've got them in, and now we can also see here where I've actually just slightly elongated these holes for the frame, just a little bit too tight in tolerances, but apart from that is a perfect fit. And then what we'll do now is move on to the back here. Again, I'm not tightening these until I've got all the bolts in, and then we can tighten it off and go from there. Considering also that we do have the front plates to go on as well, so but we can mount these front bolts straight away. So what I'll do is I'll put you guys back over here, and now we can move on to the back end, and you should be able to just maneuver these back brackets near the swing arm. So what I'm doing is I'm just again doing it by hand, starting them off, and just using, you can also put your finger just up the back where it attaches, and yeah, hold it in place. Now if it's a little bit too tight, you can also, I'm not going to put these frame ones on too tight, but I will put these on nice and tight once that's in. And my other frame bolt, which is here, again, we'll just get a washer on that too. So the next step will be is we will make sure that we tighten these now, because I know that the front plates already fit nice and perfect. Just, you know, just do it by feel. You'll know when it's nice and tight, it's firm. There we go, those back ones are good. These front ones, you might get a little bit of flex out of them just because of the bracket that's behind it. And that to me is very much perfect. So we're almost at the end of the installation, but now we need to put on the front bracket that goes on here. First of all, I'm going to start off by saying that you'll get 2 bolts this size in the kit itself. You'll see which ones go where, but just to let you know, the longer bolt will actually go onto the frame mount over here, and then this smaller one will go on the underside where we put the mount onto the engine mount itself. So just keep in mind those 2 bolts. Alrighty, so this is our front plate that will be going on the front of the skid plate itself and mounting to the 2 mounts that we had. So it's a bit of a jigsaw, but basically what will happen is that will just join together like so. And what the process behind this would be is I'd probably put a washer and bolt just on here, just to keep that in place. And now you won't get that wobbliness of the whole mount going everywhere. So what we want to do is we want to start lining up these mounting points, and so that will go there, and also this top mount will slowly move that up and line it up. Now what we'll do is we can get the top main bolt, which is the longer one, and this should theoretically just slide through. So remember, you want 1 washer on one side, and I'm going to go from the top like so, and then you'll have the nylon nut and the washer to go on the other. Smaller bolt, which is this one here with the nut, and you'll have 2 washers on that one too, will be on the other side over here. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to move onto the other side to do this because it's going to be slightly easier, and making sure that everything still lines up. So what we'll do, I might even put the Allen key side facing out, and then the nut on this side. Just it might be a little bit easier this way as well. So we can still fit our tool in here to adjust it, so that's not a problem at all. And yeah, we're keeping everything still nice and loose. Everything's in line, which is good. You can see all our studs are lining up, and it's very, very important to not have anything too tight at the moment, because once we tighten it at the end, it will all structurally be sound, even though this is very, very structurally sound and over-engineered from our friends at Carapaks. They do an excellent job on all their protective gear. Remember, you can get this for all other models as well. It's not just Husqvarna. Definitely get onto the team and have a chat to them about it. And we'll put our last bolt in on this side here, and we just adjust that camera angle for you guys. You can see that there's another nut up here. Alright guys, so we can go ahead and tighten everything up now. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab the socket, and we're just going to tighten up. I'm going to start off with the middle plate there, which should be a 10mm. So those nuts are a 10mm, and the Allen keys are a 6mm on the frame bolts themselves. So let's go ahead, tighten that up. No real sequence to this. I'm just starting in the middle because it seems like that's going to be our main point where things are going to sort of pop out, if anything. And then we do our top ones, and then the very last one up here. And then don't forget, we still need to get our frame mounts on properly as well. Not that it's going to move now. This is very, very solid. So what we want to do now is just grab our 13mm on the back of that front mount, and also your 6mm. And what we want to do is just tighten it up. And on the last mount, we put our 13mm ring spanner on, and I've just got a flexi on the Allen key. And yeah, just do that up as much as you can, and it should be all sweet. There we go. It's nice and tight. Don't want to overdo it. Alright guys, we're on to the last stage now. We're going to be installing the rear linkage protection, okay, which will just slide into the skid plate itself. So this side will be facing the inside. So this is the inside of the skid plate, and this is the outside, so the nice smooth side. And you can see we've got the screw holes there, so that will just slide in here like so. And just remember, you will be taking this off every now and then too, just so you can clean the plate and stuff like that. So last but not least, on there. Okay, now to tighten these up, I've actually got a 5mm. I'll just make sure that that's right. No, I'm sorry, it's a 4mm on that. So these 4mm, do it in a circular motion right there. Okay, and we tighten that up. So that's it, guys. That's your skid plate installed. Just make sure you go through and check all the mounting points. Make sure everything's nice and snug.